Hello students, let's read this question. A cell phone store's weekly earnings depends on the number of employees working during a shift. Which mathematical equation can be used to compute the weekly earnings y for different number of employees x during a certain shift? So let's start identifying important information. In my first sentence, the store's weekly earning depends on the number of employees. I'm going to highlight this. The weekly earnings depends on the number of employees. And the reason why I'm highlighting this, guys, is because I will have to come out with an equation. And although on this sentence I don't have numbers, they mention the word number, and that makes this important. Okay, let's continue. Which mathematical equation, okay, so we want an equation, can be used to compute weekly earnings W. Okay, that's important because I need to know what each variable is going to represent for different number of employees X. Okay, number of employees X, and that's gonna be changing. Great, so we underline important information, and my next step is to box the question. And the question is find the equation that represents the weekly earnings Y for different number of employees X. For the section of elaborate, I'm gonna rewrite some of the sentences that are given in the question so I can understand better what's going on. The first sentence that I rewrote is weekly earnings Y, and I highlighted in orange. It's given in the paragraphs, so I just copy this section from the main paragraph into this small section. Another section that is given is the different number of employees X. And for that one, I highlighted in blue. So I'm going to do it in blue also. Now I'm going to just reanalyze the section that we highlighted in yellow. The weekly earnings depends on the number of employees. What do you think that means? It could be that if there are more employees, they can make more money. That's possible. It could be the other way too, right? If they have more employees, it takes more money for the company, and then the weekly earnings can be less money. But anyway, what it means is that they will have different number of employees. And I'm going to rewrite that in here. The weekly earnings, they have the variable Y, and depends can translate as an equal sign. Now, they said the number of employees is going to be changing. So they should have some money here, and the number of employees will be changing. Remember how in elementary, numbers that we didn't know, we use an empty box? So here we're gonna have some money. I'm gonna put the money symbol. If this money is repeated by one employee, instead of X, we can plug in a 1, right? And then if there are 2 employees, I can put a 2. And then if there are 3 employees, I can put a 3. And you see, so the X is gonna be taking different values. But if it's gonna repeat another value, what operation must be there? Multiplication. So let's look at the answer choices and see which one has a multiplication. It could be choice B, or it could be letter D. Any of those two. I can do this problem in different ways. I can look for the pattern in the table, or I can do substitution. I'm gonna get started with substitution. Since I'm trying to figure if it's B or D, I'm gonna get started with choice B. And I'm gonna bring the equation first. The equation for choice B says y equals 240x. And when they have an x, like in choice B, that implies multiplication. And I'm gonna put this choice in B in pink, just so we can track better the work that we're doing. Since I'm gonna be doing this information now, I'm gonna highlight all my Y's in orange because that's the way I did it in here. And my X's, they will be in blue. But I'm gonna just leave this space empty so I can write my X. So for the 240, I'm gonna highlight this in green. And the value of X, I'm putting that in blue. Now on my table, I'm gonna check the numbers. On the left side, they have employees X, so that should be information that we will have in blue color. You see, guys, it should be here. And for the Y values, we said we chose orange. So it goes like that. So I'm gonna do substitution. What doing substitution means is that we're just gonna focus on one section of the table. And if choice B is correct, the values that we plug in this equation, the substitution that we do, should give us this, it should work with the table as well. So for the value of Y, in the first row, we have 1,200. And I highlight this in orange because I got it from the orange section. Now I'm gonna bring the equal sign. The 240 is a constant number. That one is not gonna change. So I just bring it down. The 240. And in this case, the value of X is what value? What value did we highlight in blue? The 5. Great. So that's gonna multiply a 5. And I'm gonna make a little squiggle so I can know that I'm doing the work for letter B. So on the side, I'm gonna do this multiplication. 240 times 5. Can you help me to multiply? Thank you. 5 times 0, 0. 5 times 4, 20. 0 we carry 2. 5 times 2, 10. Plus 2, 12. Great. So looks like this might be our answer. On the other side, I'm going to do letter D, which is the other one that could be your answer. And this one, we can do it in not yellow because I always use yellow to highlight the right answers. I'm going to do bright green. Okay, so with bright green, I'm going to do letter D. And I'm going to make a squiggle around to make sure that I identify this information for letter B. For choice D, the given equation reads y equals 220 times x. For the values of y, we identify that it's on the right side of the table. So I'm going to highlight this in orange. The 220 is a constant. That's not going to change because they gave us a number, so the number stays the same. But the variables, the letters, they do change. In this case, x is the variable. Again, I'm going to focus on the first row. I have to check one row at a time. And the first value of y is 1,200, just like on choice B. This is 1,200. The equal sign, I'm going to bring it down. The constant stays the same. And the value of x is what we highlighted in blue. So this is this 5 right here. And I'm going to identify the same color so I can track better why did I get this number. So this way you can see this 1,200 comes from this section here and the 5 comes from this other section here. So, okay, so now that I have one multiplication, I'm going to multiply on the side. 220 times 5. And I should be doing this in green because that's the color I gave to choice D. Can you help me to multiply? 5 times 0, 0. 5 times 2, 10. 0 we carry 1. 5 times 2, 10. Plus 1, 11. Now, from these two numbers here, we got 1,100. and we can see that this is not the same as 1,200. So choice D cannot be our answer. Then choice A cannot be our answer either because they're not repeating the variable x. And on the story they mentioned that the number of employees is going to be different. You see how here they only have one x, and in front of the x, what do they have? They don't have anything. So then that means they have a number 1 in front. So it means they're repeating the letter x only one time. So we cannot take this choice either. What about choice C? It's very similar to choice A. For the letter X, which is a different number of employees, they're not repeating the letter X. You see how they have a plus in front? So they're gonna add 240. But here, the number of employees is just one X. When we don't have any number in front of the X, it implies that we have the number 1. So here it's like saying they just have one employee. So we cannot choose C either. So our right answer definitely is gonna be letter B. Awesome, guys. Thank you.